Hello everyone. Today's topic will be Vaseline. Vaseline petroleum, the whitish substance inside the blue containers you may find at your local supermarket or gas station. I would like to provide both you and the reader and myself with some medical knowledge and details about Vaseline that may or may not, depending on how much you know about petroleum, surprise you. Vaseline has various uses as a medication or a skincare substance, but can also pose a danger if swallowed or used in conjunction with at-home oxygen therapy, which can cause burns. Vaseline is a convenient source in most places, especially in my home here in Monticello, Mississippi, where you can find some in most gas stations that are open 24/7. They are also small enough to carry if you are in a working environment and can be quickly accessible and fast in the unfortunate situation of injury where you are in need of first aid, not just for scratches, but for many issues that could arise in a working environment, such as burns or dry skin. Vaseline, if gotten in the eye, however, according to an article written in Midline Plus, must be flushed out with large amounts of water for 15 minutes, as it is an eye irritant. Vaseline can also pose a danger if aspirated, according to this article, and can cause coughing, difficulty breathing, chest pain, coughing up blood, fever, and chills. Vaseline being as apparent and ready as it is in my home as well as many other locations around the world, as a chart on Statista shows that between 2018 and 2020, the amount of people who use Vaseline nearly doubled to about 4,500. Vaseline body lotion is also sold online by a, as stated, non-profit online gift store operated by the Women's Society of Washington University in St. Louis. I thought I would write this to help everyone better understand Vaseline as both a remarkable feat in medicine and an accessible and useful product. Despite Vaseline petroleum being used as a skin protectant, it is not generally meant for use of sanitization, as petroleum is meant to create a protective layer on the skin which, according to a study from the NCBI, is not impermeable and permeates throughout the outer layer of the skin and recovers damaged skin rather than dispose of harmful bacteria. There is a clinical Vaseline hand sanitizer lotion that is sold online and at various retailers such as Target and Rite Aid, which doesn't contain petroleum but benzalkonium chloride. Benzalkonium chloride, despite being an effective disinfectant and sanitizer, is suspected to become ineffective over time, for if a large amount of it is frequently used by humans over time, as according to a study by the NCBI, the frequent use of benzalkonium chloride by humans in the environment may produce a cross-resistant phenotype to form which would make the benzalkonium chlorides ineffective. It has been urged by the FDA that humans move towards using plain soap and water when washing hands. Some Vaseline is made for toddlers and babies to prevent rashes, such as Perigo Vitamin A and D ointment, which contains petroleum, but also lanolin, which is a cream that is derived from sheep wool, which some have suspected causes contact allergy dermatitis. There were 2 studies done by the NCBI to test this. The first study showed that of 594 patients tested, only about 1.2% to 6.9% had demonstrated contact lanolin allergy. The second study showed that of 499 patients tested for contact lanolin allergy, none demonstrated contact dermatitis. Lanolin, being in many creams and lotions, is often compared to Vaseline as an alternative skin protectant. In an article on Vaseline from UC Davis, it is mentioned that using petroleum Vaseline or other creams after washing hands can be a good way to prevent harmful bacteria by adding a soft layer. Petroleum Vaseline is intended to help minor cuts and burns heal. There was a study by the NCBI to see if petroleum would prevent lacerations in women during childbirth. However, the study showed that it had not been effective. Vaseline has also been shown in a study done that when during labor, if the perineal is massaged with Vaseline, it can decrease perineal traumas from episiotomy or tears during the second stage of labor and preserve an intact perineal. During pregnancy, many women experience hemorrhoids or hemorrhoid symptoms such as anal bleeding, itching, or burning sensation. Petroleum jelly may help with these symptoms if used around the anus to stop itching or burning sensations. Women during pregnancy may also experience epistaxis, despite 2 studies by the NCBI that have been done on whether petroleum jelly may prevent nosebleed. Both studies showed that petroleum jelly was inconclusive to outright ineffective, and considering the dangers of aspirating Vaseline, I am sort of glad that the results were ineffective. It may be better to use medications such as tranexamic acid, when in one study showed to reduce rebleeding from 67% to 47%. Pregnant women may also wish to have intercourse, which is reasonable to use a condom. If such occurs, in which it happens that if Vaseline is used on condoms, it could actually erode the condom and cause it to get damaged, leading to possible infection. Vaseline is historically used for sex in Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, in Africa. If abdominal wounds occur, Vaseline can help post-operatively to treat the wound. One relatively common abdominal condition is inguinal hernias, which is a bulge which can occur in the abdomen, which forms preconception in humans. When a fetus is growing, the testicles first grow out of the abdomen and then travel down to the scrotum. That process leaves an opening where a piece of bowel or ovary can get lodged into. This can lead to the condition known as an inguinal hernia, which can require surgery. Post-surgery, the wound on the abdomen can become itchy. Using Vaseline can help reduce itchiness. In unrefined oil, some of the compounds found are polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which are also carcinogenic, and prolonged high exposure can result in lung, bladder, skin, or gastrointestinal cancer. Some of these compounds, such as phenanthrene, anthracene, fluoranthene, pyrene, parylene, and chironine, are found in unrefined oils and undergo various refining processes before they are delivered and made into a product. These processes include solvent extraction, which involves separating chemicals and oils through a solvent, catalytic hydrotreating, which involves reducing the acidic material in low-quality oils and chemicals and upgrading the oils for more efficient and non-carcinogenic safe use. Hydrocracking is the process of taking long-chain hydrogen chains and reducing them to make them easier to ignite and hence better to sell to the public for transportation. Another way that these products are assessed when being made in a process known as the chronic mouse dermal bioassay, which checks the carcinogenic levels for both refined and unrefined oils by exposing each to mice over a long period of time and seeing if there are changes to the mice which indicate a cancer. All of these processes are to get rid of carcinogenic material from unrefined oil and deliver a safe product to the world. I took my time to mention these because a lot of people have been critical of Vaseline products because they are convinced that these processes don't work and that there are carcinogenic compounds found in petroleum products. Whether petroleum jelly is carcinogenic will depend on how many polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons are present in the petroleum jelly, which extracting the amount of polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons usually requires UV light detection in conjunction with HPLC columns. Another way would be with a UV detector in conjunction with a 240 254 nm mercury emission line in order to accurately measure the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons in the air. A statement made by Harold R. Faust and Edward W. Casserly on the safety of Vaseline product use mentions how the FDA tests all petroleum products for polycyclic aromatic atomic hydrocarbons and other carcinogenic compounds. Testimonies have been made in using Vaseline for the treatment of head lice. When applied, the treatment may suffocate and or create a habitat unfavorable to the head lice. Mentioned in a treatment guide from the Minnesota Department of Health, petroleum seems to be a use-all term for both petroleum jelly and unrefined petroleum found in oil. So it is important, I think, to distinguish the two. I think some people see the dangers posed from unrefined petroleum in oil and automatically connect it to cosmetic petroleum products due to the familiar name, but before refining they are entirely different substances that does different things. The chemical aspects of petroleum jelly is of great concern from what I have interpreted. There was a study done in New Zealand where petroleum was used on rabbits, and after a week the rabbits exhibited moderate to severe erythema. However, the same results were not found in mice, according to a safety sheet by EHS Legacy. Petroleum should be stored in a cool, dry, well-ventilated, locked storeroom away from incompatible materials. I found a different document listing general information on petroleum jelly use. However, when it came to storage, all it said was that the principal display panel should read 106 gram jar label to the human seeing it. The principal display panel usually means that it will be an item shelved for anyone at a gas station or supermarket to see clearly. From my experience seeing petroleum jelly at my local gas station and grocery stores, I have never seen it stored in a freezer or a fridge. It is always sitting on the shelf under room temperature usually. One study done by Ellie Yamamoto showed that Vaseline can be a very good rust prevention product, showing that there were a significant decrease amount of rust spots shown on an iron nail when in a water environment over the course of 6 days when applied compared to no treatment, which led to a lot of rust. Petroleum jelly, as we've discussed, is combustible. However, the flash point of petroleum jelly, according to Cameo Chemicals, is between 360 degrees to 430 degrees Fahrenheit. When it comes to stains made from petroleum jelly at home or work, according to the University of Illinois, you must wash it with paper towels with water and isopropyl. They even mention using detergent, and that if stained on a washable garment, you should not launder the garment before cleaning the stain, and that it would be impossible to clean off. This doesn't sound like stuff you'll want to spill a lot. Petroleum jelly, being an oil and a solid viscous mass, according to Redmond, Washington Wastewater Source Control, is a FOG item, fats, oils, grease. Fog items, if poured down a drain, solidifies and builds up over time and cause a blockage, and depending on how much fog gets poured down a drain, it could obstruct the flow of sewers. I've been a watermark on Woodmaker for a very long time. I don't like setting my drinks on coasters or cushions. According to an article I read on FamilyHandyman.com, it claims that petroleum jelly can actually wipe these marks away and can actually be very good at it. I have not personally tried this, as my legacy continues of being the watermark on Woodmaker, so you may just have to take Family Handyman's word on this. Despite petroleum jelly not being something to generally pour down a drain, in an emergency situation in which you would need to use a plunger to unclog a toilet, petroleum jelly on the lips of the plunger will actually make suction stronger and may make it more sturdy. If petroleum jelly is spilled, according to a statement by Thermo Fisher Scientific, when cleaning, the petroleum jelly is extremely slippery. Petroleum jelly's melting point is between 100 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, so I suppose that any household or work microwave could melt it. Some of the stores which are known for selling petroleum jelly are Walgreens, Walmart, CVS, Dollar Tree, among many more, such as my local gas stations and Target. Not finding petroleum jelly in any retail stores actually seems uncommon from what I could find. The beginnings of cosmetic oils began around 6,000 years ago, 4000 BC, in Iraq along the banks of the Euphrates rivers, an oil site known as the Fountains of Pitch. There, asphalt was quartered for building stones as well as for waterproofing baths and boats. Natural deposits of asphalt can also be found in rivers or pits where unrefined petroleum has seeped through the fissures of the earth. From the 10th century to the 1500s, many civilizations found unrefined oil and realized its health benefits. Unrefined oils were used to treat camels as well as to treat Roman Emperor Charles V's gout. The American Indians used oil for medicines. The American settlers found its presence in water supplies a contamination, but they learned to collect it and use it as fuel in their lamps. The Seneca Indians used unrefined oils for body paint and ceremonial fires. In 1854, kerosene lamps began driving unrefined oils as fuel, which created an enormous demand for oil, and in 1859 at Titsonsville, Pennsylvania, Colonel Edwin Drake drilled the first successful well through rock and produced unrefined oil. This was the birth of the petroleum industry. Around the same year, a chemist named Robert Cheesebrough extracted a key ingredient from a substance left on an oil rig. This substance was petroleum, and he would go on to invent and patent Vaseline. There are many Vaseline products that are sold for skincare at most local stores, such as Walmart or CVS. However, the only readily manufactured Vaseline hair product I could find was Vaseline Hair Tonic, which I couldn't find at any stores near me, but you can pick up Vaseline Hair Tonic online at some online retailers such as eBay or Caddyland. I found one offering on Etsy of a vintage New York-made cheesebrow.mfg.co Vaseline hair tonic, which interestingly on the bottle, which seemed to be pretty old, claimed to be made with Veritol with lanolin. It's currently being sold for $15, which doesn't seem too bad for such an old product. It still looks like there's cream inside it, but it looks quite aged, and I don't think it would be functional. In terms of how large these containers of Vaseline can get, I found one jar which was 59 ounces being sold online from a company from New Jersey, Ebo Line, which is more known for their product Hair Food, which could be found at most Walmarts. Putting on Vaseline doesn't generally tickle the skin. It has a light oil sound, which its portability in most containers. It could be brought to work or even outdoors. Some at-home skin remedies involve mixing salt and Vaseline. Vaseline is also used for making slime, using food dyes, glue, and water. Using a keychain, you could probably attach a small container of Vaseline to your belt and go to work. Vaseline or petroleum jelly is a product found at most local stores. I found this to educate myself and the world at large of both the history and significance of Vaseline, as it is a very outstanding skincare product that can work wonders for many alike. Some of the dangers discussed in Vaseline use was when swallowed, it can cause coughing, abdominal pain, diarrhea, and shortness of breath. If aspirated, it can cause severe symptoms such as difficulty breathing and coughing up blood. Vaseline with at-home oxygen therapy can cause burns. For those worried about Vaseline because it's derived from petroleum, understand that the oil which it's derived goes through a myriad of tests and assays such as solvent extraction, catalytic hydrotreating, chronic mouse dermal bioassays, and FDA tests to remove the harmful minerals and chemicals in unrefined oil to a point where the two are entirely different substances. It can be stored in cool places and used for various purposes, such as in slime recipes and in body scrub recipes. Vaseline is a remarkable product for both medicinal and workshop or other purposes.